British robot. She's not
Hello.
British. I always think she's British for some reason, but she turns out to be Canadian every single
You
time.
need to learn your
Um,
accents.
I know.
Canadians
Guys,
won.
welcome to your Tuesday masterclass. Hope you're all fired up to be here. Um, Obviously, we're talking about the like a dominant open house strategy. I think that everybody in this business should be doing open houses right now. Um, a lot of us do everything really passively, and we got to make sure that everything that we do is with absolute intent, which means understanding why we do them, right? And we're going to learn that probably in the first 15 minutes, why we're doing these open houses, okay? What we should expect, and how to run just a badass machine that's duplicatable over and over and over and over again, right? And anything worth doing is worth doing full bore. We don't prospect without intent. We shouldn't be doing open houses without intent. And we got to make sure that we maximize every piece of time that we have allocated to our real estate business and design it to give us like the maximum return.
Right.
Okay. Before we do that, ladies and gentlemen, just a couple of quick highlights. Andrew Shigori, 8 listings taken in the past, what, 6 days? Andrew Shigori,
Now it's 8 days.
Let's
Andrew,
8 days,
go.
whatever, a listing a day. Like, what a gangster. I love that. Ashley Deep, also a pro agent, got her first $2,000 revenue share check from the EXP revenue share. She
let's
decided
go,
a couple
Ashley
of months
Deep.
ago
Go Ling Ling.
You're
she
rich.
decided a couple of months ago that she was really going to get intentional about building that out, right? And now that revenue share is covering her mortgage, which is fantastic news. Also, Ian just joined us not too long ago. 7 appointments last week, listed 3 of them, I think, over the weekend. And he's got a baby face. I don't even think he can grow facial hair yet. So,
When we say
um,
not too long ago, like 2 weeks ago,
yeah,
literally. Yeah.
yeah, 2 weeks ago. So it just goes to show you guys that the market is here for anybody who wants it, right? And oftentimes you see these guys who are plugging in again or just getting started with us really take over the world, right? And I think the reason for that is where we've kind of like built up obstacles for ourselves. These guys are all seeing opportunity. You know what I mean? And sometimes you get into the process so much and you're so just caught up in your day to day that you forget what an incredible opportunity that you have. And if you operate as if there are no boundaries, ladies and gentlemen, there are no boundaries, right? So I want you guys to just keep that in mind. There's a reason why time after time, Laura Sinclair just joined us and she's taken a listing active. Like what, Laura, what are you doing? Like 2 a week now at least?
It was on track to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, and now you guys see her screaming on the testimonials, "Let's go!" all the time, like a psychopath, like me or Nick Tirani, right? And it's because she's not seeing the same obstacles that we're seeing, right? So just keep in mind that we're in the spring market right now. It's all there for us if we're willing to put in the work and double down and not get in the habit of making what we do in real estate as a job, right? Because sometimes we clock in, we do our prospecting, we do our process, and it becomes that, right? But like, remember, opportunity is right now. I was listening to Patrick David Bett. Who knows Patrick David Bett? Anybody know who that guy is?
Check that,
Nobody knows
David.
PBD? Yeah, Patrick Bet David. Sorry, Patrick David Bet. Whatever, same thing. He made a video. He's a big insurance guy. Built one of the biggest insurance companies in the nation. Multi-millionaire. Great mind, and he's awesome dude. But he made a video like maybe I think it was like 2 years ago or something like that, where he's telling agents that it's about time that they get a part-time job, right? And at the time, I was like, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard, right? And then obviously some of you guys joined us, had your best years in real estate ever the past couple of years. Heard him again talking about how right now it must be really hard to be an agent. Okay. Do any of you guys feel like it's hard to be an agent right now in this market? And I'd love to hear from you guys who think it's hard to be an agent right now in this market, right? I think most of us realize that it's not hard to be an agent. It's hard to actually get out of our own way and get to work. And we know if we get to work, we're going to get the result, right? So to kind of relate this to the open house, it's important that not only do we not get caught up in just the process of prospecting and lead generating like it's just a thing that we do, but like reorient our brains to understand that everything that we do must be done with intent. Everything that we do matters, and we're doing something to get something out of it. with everything that we do, right?
Yeah.
So today we're talking about the open house strategy. Okay. Michelle, is there anything that you want to touch
Yeah,
on before we just
I'll
jump
chime
in?
in here. So I was talking to these guys, and a bunch of you guys have probably been talking to. This has been kind of a constant conversation. I swear I'm having every other day with agents on that they're holding open houses, right? And at the end of the day, it comes down to they're spending all this time. And I know there's many of you on here, right? And they're spending all this time, and it's like, well, how many people are you actually talking to, right? And it's I talk to 7 people. So if, I mean, as I think about this, when you think about all what we talk with you guys day in and day out, week in and week out, what is that doing to move the needle to actually get any kind of result, right? And so when you think about one, how agents are using this as a tool to go create business, right? Most are doing it wrong. That is just plain and simple. And that is blinding in the conversations I'm literally having every other day with all these great agents out there in the industry, right? And then on the other side, we also have a community of massive listing agents, right? Are we doing a good enough job to teach you guys how to turn every one of those into a lead generation strategy, right? To build your business exponentially. Who was on here for when we had our guest Gail DeMarco on? I want to say this was like 3 weeks ago. How many of you guys were on here? Do you guys recall, right, her 3 pillars of business, right, between prospecting, open houses, and YouTube, how she rebuilt her business from scratch in a brand new market across the country, right, coast to coast, okay? Open houses being one of her big pillars, and selling, I can't remember, it was 47, 48, or 49 homes in one community in 1 year. If
Damn.
done right, you guys, it is a massive lead generation and engine and pillar in your business. And I emphasize this as an army of listing agents on here, as well as someone going, what's a pillar I could go out there and create business right now? So I realized that we haven't had this conversation in a while other than one off. So I was like, we need to make sure we run this back for everyone. So we'll kind of, I know we're going to piggyback around each other. We did make a slide deck that I'll share screen so you guys don't have to just stare at our faces talking this whole time. But you guys are going to want to take notes, okay? We'll give you some material when this is over. You guys will have like we'll post the slide deck and all those things, but we're going to be talking about things that aren't on there as well. So I want you guys to be able to take notes. And so again, when we emphasize what is that system, right? How do we, I know we call this, the open house domination system, Chris and Cooley, but the conversation, you guys, it isn't about selling the house. You guys know that, right? That's not, why do we do open houses? Think about that for a second.
It leads.
Generate business.
It's about creating more business, right? It's to drive more business, drive inventory, build our databases. So we're going to walk you guys how to intentionally leverage that, what most treat as just a singular passive event, right? You're
Yeah.
spending all this time, and now how to turn it into a predictable, duplicatable lead generation system. So I'm going to go ahead and share this, but I think let me share screen. Sorry, give me a minute here to actually.
While you pull that up, I want to frame something for everybody on here. So, when I was a kid in a real estate office, I remember before Google, before everything was online, my parents would have like 3, 4, 5, 6 agents on duty every day because we'd get so many calls and so many walk-ins, right? And that dissipated once the internet went out. People didn't go to a real estate office. The last office we had before the one that we're in, I think we were there for 6 years. And we had one walk-in. We were like 1 for 1. So one person walked in, we sold them a house, but that was the only walk-in ever, right? And the opportunity gets missed when it comes to open houses because every open house is a brick and mortar real estate office location in the middle of where you want to do business, right? So if there's a neighborhood where you really want to be, dominating and you want to take the listings and you want to be the authority, every time you have a listing or there's a listing where you can do an open house, it puts you in a brick and mortar location, central to everything. But what you'll learn today, and what we're going to help you really get, with the nitty gritty on is like, how do I get people to show up to my brick and mortar, and how do I utilize having this opportunity of an open house to turn into multiple transactions as if it's 2000 and there's people walking up to an office every day trying to buy and sell real estate. You're replacing that.
I just want to, Chris, I love that you're saying that because you guys got to think about the value of being able to have that in-person presence, right? That's the entire objective of everything we're doing with every lead, every prospecting call is to what? Is to be able to get face to face with our consumers, right? And so I love that you're saying that, Chris, because that is the value that you can the pull. Just most don't know how to create the traffic and how to actually get to the exponential numbers around that. So let's just to kick off, I'm going to run you guys through. First of all, can everyone see the slides? You guys see like a main? I'm kind of blacked out now because I've got these black slides up on my both my monitors.
Yeah.
But you guys, then you got to think about why are we holding an open house? Okay, like the mindset shift has to happen first as to why we are doing this. Okay. One, we're dominating a neighborhood, right? We are building a database in that neighborhood. We never stop talking about database. We'll lean into that script we teach all of you guys of how to build with every contact and every conversation you have, right? You're identifying sellers that want to sell now in the future, right? You're identifying buyers that want to buy now and in the future, right? You're creating a presence and an authority, right, Chris? And we're going to get into details of all this, right? But again, you're creating multiple deals from one event. The open house, you guys have to remember, it's a leverage. So I want you guys to write this down, okay? The house, this is what I say to every time. This is again, every other day, I swear I'm having this conversation. The house, you guys, is the excuse. This is your leverage piece, okay, Laura? The house is the excuse. The neighborhood is the target. The database is the asset. Anyone need us to repeat that? The
Yes,
house is the excuse. The house is the excuse. The neighborhood is the target. And the database is the asset. This whole slide right here, you guys, just to start us out, and then we're going to get into like actually building all this out. It's just a mindset shift. This right here will completely change the results that you guys get. Just the mindset shift alone, right? That I am using this open house as leverage to talk to a lot of people, right? To get in front of a lot of people and to identify people that need my help.
And to sell you on the idea, guys, real quick, like a lot of us do the hard stuff to get the listing, right? A lot of us do the hard work to get the listing. And as a part of your duplication process, which should be if I'm going to do the hard stuff, right, I got to take the easy stuff that comes along with it. If I'm going to call an expired listing, right, and take that listing and sell it, I got to make darn sure that I do 1 to 2 more transactions in that same neighborhood over the next 12 months. Or why am I doing it? Okay. That's really important to understand because it makes you more intentional when you're talking about your open house. So, like, number one, I'm doing it because I want to duplicate, right? I got to make it, integrate it as a part of my system, my duplication system every time I put a listing on the market. Number two, especially in a market like this where we're struggling so much on price, right? How many of you guys are having those conversations with your clients a lot about price, getting them to drop their price? Sometimes we take a listing, we know we shouldn't have taken it at that price. And this is a great opportunity for us to gather evidence, right? To present to our sellers about having that price reduction conversation, right? Sometimes we deal with those stubborn sellers who are so hooked on that price point, right? And they don't want to move. And you need the evidence to give them that this is the market sending us a message, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
So I
Michelle.
want you guys to write down. So when you look at, okay, we're still talking about the why for a moment here, right? Like, here's the reasons I'm doing the open houses. Number one, lead generation. Okay. It's lead generation, lead generation. I'm here to have, it's my leverage and my opportunity to drive more business, get new clients. We're going to find listings right now. We're going to find buyers right now. We're going to find future buyer and sellers, all from holding an open house. Okay. So it's to drive, you're going to, again, neighbors, that's future deals, right? Every time a home sells, we know another 1 or 2 are going to sell right away. It's the neighbors, it's the move up buyers, it's the downsizers, it's the curious sellers. We're doing this to lead generate, right? And what I want you guys to write down in open houses is a method of prospecting designed as marketing, okay? This is a method of prospecting, your guys' favorite thing that we always talk about, right? So that's number one. Number two, this is one step, you guys, in the direction of dominating a community, right? Community domination plan. Okay. Again, I'm gonna come to this when we get into the how in a moment here and circle back to how in the world you guys saw Gail and spoke to her, can look up her numbers, is in a brand new market doing open houses in this methodology, selling 47 homes in one community. You are dominating a community. Okay. This is done strategically. This is done intentionally on community targeted marketing through circle prospecting, the system that we're going to walk you guys through. Okay. And then what you just talked about, is why I flipped to this slide, right? As a listing agent, you guys, this is all part of Sorry, I didn't mean to touch anything. This is all part of that communication back to your sellers, right? This is demonstrates all the active work you're doing. This is what you guys are selling them on. Why are you going to work with an active agent versus a passive agent, right? This is part of your selling point with your sellers and your communication back as to why the evidence, right? Why do we need a price reduction? Because here's what's happening. Here's the work that we're doing. Here's the numbers and the results, right? So I wanted to flip to this. And then number 4, you guys, you're building your database. So I want you guys to write this down on number 4 because this is really important. I'll tell you this. This is why, in my opinion, most agents fail, okay? Because they're measuring visitors. How many people came through the open house? This is why most fail. You guys know this. Sometimes open houses are crazy, and in a really good hot part of the market, it's priced right. You could have a lot of people through, right? You could also have 1 or 2 people through. They're sitting and waiting for that traffic, right? And they're measuring visitors, okay? That's the problem. You need to be measuring your contacts and conversations. Same thing to me, okay? You need to be measuring your conversations and your appointments you are setting out of this activity you're doing, okay? And Chris, Cooley, I don't know if you guys want to add to that. That's pretty black and white, but everyone needs to be writing down. This is why they fail. You're measuring visitors passively coming into you versus how many conversations did I have and how many appointments did I set. Those are the only 2 metrics that should be happening. Because when we teach you how to turn this event into an engine to have 20, 30 plus meaningful conversations, that's going to lead to 1, 2, 3 clients.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to everybody? We'll come back to how to collect the organic email address there. But the last one right there that I was going to say, consistent activity builds results. This is crazy to me, you guys, because, and Chris, Cooley, I know you guys do this too. I'll talk to an agent that's done an open house every single weekend for the last 12 months, 4 weeks a month. And it's like, how many deals did you do out of that? 0. These are real conversations. That should never happen. Who is talking to you to help give guidance on how to make sure the work that you're doing is getting a return? Now, that's not what I mean by consistency. What I mean more by consistency, any top producer out there is because they're performing their lead generation activities consistently. They're doing them every single week. They're tracking their numbers and they're working with someone to improve their process, right? The definition of insanity, it's either we do a few things, we dabble in it, I didn't get anything from it. That's what most agents do. Then you even get someone that's committed, that's literally been told, go do open houses, go sit there and wait for people to walk through. And they're doing an open house every week for a year. They've done 0 deals out of it. That doesn't make any sense. You guys feeling me? Sorry, these are all like crazy conversations I have every day.
Yeah,
So-
100%.
You're 100%.
So now let's talk about the what, Chris and Cooley. So let's talk about what an effective open house actually looks like. Let's talk with them about the system. So we're going to give you guys, and I know we have slides up here, but I want you guys to make sure you're writing down your own notes. So what does this include? It's going to be a 12-step system again that you guys can duplicate. This should become a lead generation machine. And Chris, you said this at the very beginning. I think it to me, it all starts with, I would call that the pre-marketing system. If you guys see right here on the slides, we don't just schedule an open house and we're holding an open house, right? Like this literally starts 5 days before, and your pre-marketing system is what drives the entire traffic, right? It's what drives everything. So Chris, where do we start? So I'm going to do this in phases for you guys. So we've got an open house, right? Again, we'll when we get to the end, we can kind of talk about those of you guys how to the best methods to get open houses. If you don't have listings, right? You can be doing open houses as much as you want and leveraging the system. But
Yeah, no doubt.
Chris or Cooley, number 1, right? So phase 1 starting, this would be Monday or Tuesday, guys. This is the start of the week. This is the first phase to what we're doing to create that traffic. So number 1, Chris.
Yeah, so like the slide before really needs to be something you guys think about. Hey, we got to build a lot of momentum. It's going to take 5 days or so to make sure that we make the most out of that Saturday, that Sunday, whatever day you're doing that open house on. But the first part of the process is super simple. If you're going to do it yourself, if you have a VA, if you have an assistant, we got to start getting the flyers and links and all that kind of stuff put together. Go to the next one so we can read off of that. So like something as simple as like just taking the time and getting a high quality flyer done. I always say this: if you're going to go out there and follow like this process that we're going to go over with you, you want to have a flyer for your listing that you're doing the open house for. My recommendation is on the flip side of that flyer or on a separate sheet to have a 30-day, 60-day, 90-day real estate market update for that subdivision. And it's, guys, it's as simple, like does it for our agents like in 2 seconds. It's as simple as looking up what's active, pending, and sold, screenshotting that, putting it into Canva, and then people get a clear idea. Hey, there's currently 4 actives, there's 3 under contract, and 4 have sold in the last 30 days. I say 30, 60, 90 days because some neighborhoods are just bigger and smaller. There's neighborhoods here in Houston that have 200 homes for sale, and there's neighborhoods that have 1 home for sale. The lower amount of homes for sale, pendings, and solds, you're probably going to just, hey, this is the last 90-day report. So just to give you kind of an idea, because people will think about that later, but you want to get some clear market stats for people to see on there. You need to think about like the Facebook post, the Instagram post. If you have any videos on this, right? Like, you're going to see how active you're going to be in front of a lot of these people. The more items like a flyer that you create, the more items like an Instagram or Facebook post, like if you did a video regarding an open house, things of that nature, you're able to now send those things depending if you're talking to those people at the door, on the phone, if they're coming in. And so you want to be prepared to be able to send that information out. And people will receive that information, pretty easily. They're not going to like decline that info, right? And it's going to be something that makes you stand out. And so think about what you have on that information. It needs to be of value, and you need to make sure you have some kind of a call to action on there. And you can utilize, like, guys, now with Canva, if you're doing this stuff yourself and you don't have an assistant, I'm telling you, Canva pretty much does a lot for you. And if you just
We'll do
get
it for you. Chris, you've got your team built in with DP. You guys, with all of us with co-founders, you've got marketing at
a
cofounderscoop.com. Like, you already have people that'll make all of this for you like that.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, guys, I know we'll roll our eyes and go, oh, of course we got to build a flyer. Yeah, but some of you won't make a damn flyer until 2 hours before the open house. And that's the problem that we have, because it's not an active open house if we just show up 5 minutes before the open house starts and we passively wait for people to walk in. We got to get active about it. And just sometimes just having a flyer done will start it'll make it a lot easier to do the next step. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I think so, you guys, I'm going to walk you through the 12 steps. I'll reframe for you. This is step number 1. Okay. So for you guys who are writing notes, step number 1, create your marketing assets. Okay. I'm going to try to keep us on pace for time as easily as possible. Step number 2 to you guys that I don't think people do enough of, right, is everything we do should be activity and marketing out to our database. Everybody. Okay. And we just give you a really simple example. We're promoting what we're doing. We're actively inviting to the people in our communities and where we do business, right? Really, really straightforward and pretty simple, right? But if we're not doing this, again, you're just a secret agent doing a secret open house, right? You have to be inviting people. We have the systems and the CRMs, you guys, where you can have that text mass sent out to your entire database in 3 minutes. You know what I mean? Really, really easy.
Yeah, no doubt. And so just so people can understand, everybody that's like a past client, anybody by face and name, COI, past client, you should have in a database. And for the most part, you're not doing like 20 open houses a month. Maybe you do this 2 to 4 times a month, and just a weekly email or a text goes out to everybody in your database. And it's just like, hey guys, this week I'm going to be in Cleveland, Texas. Hey guys, this week I'm going to be in Kingwood. This week I'm going to be in Katy. This week I'm going to be in River Oaks. And I'm going to go sell this property. Who do you know looking to move in this area? Let me know where I should be doing something next time. Who do you know looking to buy or sell? Like, it's so easy. Like, it's the click of a button. If you just have the system prepared, you can click that goes to 100, 200, 300, 400 people. And you're going to get a response from that.
Yes, guys. So number 3, you guys. Oops, I went past one too fast. Oh, hold on. Maybe this is in the wrong order. No, I'm missing a slide here. So we're going to leave it here. Sorry about that. That's my bad. I missed this one. So number 3, you guys, that you need to write down. Now we're going to pull the neighborhood data, right? Now we're starting our actual circle prospecting campaign. Okay. So write this down. You guys have to pull 100. I always tell you guys at minimum 100. And this is the conversation I have with agents every day. They'll go knock like 5 doors to the left, 5 doors to the right, 5 across the street. That's not enough. right? What, you're going to talk to one person, two people? That's not enough. We're going to wait for 7 people to walk through the open house. There's not enough touches there to ever have any impact. You need to pull anywhere from 100. That's kind of like my minimum sweet spot. All of our markets are different. The community you're working, it could be 100 to 500 numbers for the radius of that open house. Okay. That's number one. You're identifying all of the homeowners that are within that community. Again, so like I live in a mega master community that's going to be a big list, right? So that number will range there, but write that down. So it's one of the most important things that you guys, we're going to get to the how in a second, what you're going to do with all of these, but that's one of your biggest factors as number 3. Okay. Chris Cooley, anything to add to that?
I would say that like your goal should be that you talk to 100 people minimum on the phone. That would be my main goal. So, for example, if your goal right now is like, hey, I make 35 contacts a day, 5 days a week, this is going to need to be a substantial amount of that. Maybe the rest that you're calling, of course, are expireds for sell by owners. Maybe it's some COI calls. But like when you're doing this campaign, 50% of your lead gen calls should go, hey, I'm going to call like, so there's 450 numbers on this list. I'm going through it one time. I'm going through it a second time, and I'm going through it a third time. And the nice thing, if you're using a dialer, it gets faster because when you start going through like a Kohl's Realty or whatever data that you have, after a while, I'll start taking out all the bad numbers. And then, so like the second and third time you call through that list, it's not going to call the people you already contacted, and it's already going to take off all those bad numbers that I try to dial. So it's going to get really fast and efficient for you. And if you can get 100 people on the phone, then like a second goal I would have for you is, hey, can you stay on the phone with them long enough to try to get at least half of the people? Like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and text you over the link to that listing, what's going on in the market, so you have my information. And also, you know that if there's somebody that is in your church, at work, somebody else who's renting in the neighborhood that may be looking to buy something that fits the description of this listing, you can go ahead and forward that over there, be a good friend to them, and make sure that they have all the information they need so I can see them on Saturday at 2:00.
We're going to dive into that one a little bit more, Chris, just to hit on a few bullets of everything you just talked about. So number 4, you guys, that I want you to write down is to identify all of the expired listings, right? In that same radius. Why would these be high priority conversations, Cooley? If we're doing an open house, we're going through this process anyways. Why would we want to go through the trouble of identifying anyone that was an expired or canceled over the last 3 months in that?
Because you know that those people are the next likely people to sell, right? And that's kind of the point of doing an open house to begin with, is you're going to show them, number one, it's going to give you an excuse to contact them, right? Number two, even if you don't get a listing appointment with them right away, the fact that you're going to turn around this house pretty quickly, you're going to be able to laser focus on those targets now, having already talked to them, having already met with them if you're following the process, you know? So, and this isn't just, who's expired recently. It's who's expired or for sale by owner, because we know a lot of for sale by owners decided to take their houses off the market, right? We want all of that data because those are the people that we can laser focus on, and we know they're the most likely to sell. Michelle?
Yeah. So again, high priority, low hanging fruit, you guys. I don't know if this isn't obvious to people or it's just like that doesn't even come into the realm of the thought process, but this has to be one of your major steps here. So this is step number 4. Okay.
And
Now,
Go
go
real
ahead.
quick, imagine talking to that expired listing, you don't get the appointment, maybe you don't create any movement, and then you turn that house really quickly, or you get multiple offers, and you could now go back to that person having met with them before, right? Now it's a warm conversation of, hey, I just turned around this property really quickly, right? It's under contract. We had 4 offers. There are a lot of people still looking to move into our neighborhood. I want you to know now that you could get what you want. I'd like to help you get there. When's a great time where we can sit down and talk about what we could do to get you to Miami, right? It's a different conversation. You want warmer leads. This is a great way to create that. Michelle?
So now let's talk about, again, we're walking through this. So the first 4 are first 4 steps are phase 1. Okay. So now we're going to switch over here to phase 2. Okay. This is where the prospecting starts. This is now what you're doing Wednesday through Friday. Okay. And so Chris, now let's dive into this a little bit deeper. So now we're getting into the goal and objective, right? We've gathered all the information. We've put all the assets together, right? We've got everything that we need. We've got our marketing people that can do that for us like this, right? We're getting ready to go. Now here's where this part starts, right? The phase of what we would call prospecting, you call it whatever you want, but this is now we're driving our efforts. This is where the work comes in as an active agent, I would say Wednesday through Friday, right, Chris?
Yeah, no doubt about it. So I think for like contacting the entire neighborhood 2 to 3 times, like when it comes to the slide broadcast, Cooley, Michelle, tell me if maybe if you disagree, guys. I think you need to make the calls. If I was going to do the slide broadcast, it would be like for that, Saturday morning, that last like
Yeah.
takeoff, like 4 hours before the
It
open
should be
house.
like a layer in what we're doing. Nothing is
Yeah.
going to be more effective than making the call,
Be-
time effectiveness, door knocking, and then a slide broadcast is that layer on top of it.
Because if we just did a slide broadcast, it's better than like just doing like some Instagram video. But you post some Instagram video, and there's people from all over the place looking at it. People that don't live by, people that are far away, people that have no desire or anything like that. And like having the conversation allows you to identify problems on the spot, things that people need help with. And I like the idea of the slide broadcast, but I know when we say something like a slide broadcast, some people will go, "I'll just do a slide broadcast," right? And I don't want you to miss out on the opportunity, because the opportunity is to just sit there and talk to these people. Hey, you know what, Michelle, as a service to my seller, I wanted to personally invite you. As a service to my seller, one of your neighbors, the Joneses, I want to make sure that we find the right buyer for that property. So I wanted to talk to you about that open house that we're hosting on Saturday. Who do you know that's looking to move into the neighborhood? They're going to say probably, well, I don't really know anybody. They possibly may say that. That's a natural response. Well, tell me, who do you know in the neighborhood? Maybe looking to move up, move down. Anybody at church, anybody at work, anybody who's been talking about moving into this area that just maybe may have some interest in this. And they're going to say, maybe I have this person, maybe I don't. Well, at bare minimum, what I want to make sure you do, because what will happen, Michelle, as soon as we get off of this call tomorrow at the grocery store, somebody's going to be talking about buying a house, and I'm going to not have you have that link. So I'm going to go ahead and send you that link. So if anybody has any desire to show up to that open house and take a look at it, or they just need help buying or selling a house, and they want somebody who they can trust, that knows the market, knows the area, and can put them in the best position possible, you'll have all that information. And then like the real gold here is to find out, hey, like, when do you plan on moving? And they're typically gonna say, well, we don't plan on moving right now. We're happy where we're at. And that's really where you got to go. I can totally appreciate that. Well, tell me, how long have you been in the neighborhood for? Oh, we've been here for 17 years. 17 years. Good for you. I imagine a lot has changed since you guys purchased 17 years ago. And maybe one of the big benefits you guys have is you probably have a ton of equity. You know, if you were ever to move, whether it's now or in 10 years, where would you move to next? And you got to get to that question with every freaking person you're talking to. When you get to that question, that's when everything starts taking place. If somebody goes, hey, I'm not getting a lot of traction on making these open house calls, I'm going to go, how often are you getting to the point where you're asking them about their property? If you were to ever move, not the first time you ask, right? It's like when you pre-qualify somebody and you go, hey, if what I say makes sense and you feel comfortable and confident that I can sell your home, are you planning to list with me when I come out tomorrow at 6? They may say, we're going to have to hear what you say. And then I'm going to repeat that. I'm going to go, no, I can appreciate that. And I know you definitely need to hear what I have to say. I guess what I'm really asking here is Michelle, if you felt 150% comfortable and confident that I was the man with the plan, at that point in time, I guess you'd sign a contract, right? And so it's the same thing when you're going through, hey, when do you plan on moving? We don't plan on moving. I can appreciate that. How long have you been here? How'd you happen to move to this part of Spring, Texas, out of all the areas around town? Oh, well, we were moving from Dallas and we needed to be here, and his in-laws were here, or I'm sorry, his mother is here, and all these things. And you repeat and affirm, so you guys moved out here for his family 17 years ago, right? Do you guys still have a lot of family in the area? And you start realizing, what do they say? No, actually, his mom passed away about 10 years ago. We've kind of just been here for a long time. And we actually go back to Dallas, about like once a month to see the rest of my family. Okay, well, good for, I guess, I guess if you were to move, whether it's now or in 100 years, would it be back to Dallas? And then
I
you
think what Chris is saying too, Chris, if you don't mind me just kind of interjecting here, is that
interject.
you know how like we talked with Greg Harrelson about getting 2 minutes into the call, right? You need to get 2 minutes into the call. When you start asking them that question, right? If you did move, what would you do? What would you do next? And they start sharing with you their life plans. That's what solidifies the relationship and makes it less of a surface level conversation. Oh, hi. That's what makes them remember you. And that's what makes it easier for you to have your next conversation, right? So it's really important, even if somebody doesn't have any interest in moving or going anywhere, that you get to that level of the conversation, because what you're really doing, creating relationships with people, becoming the neighborhood expert, and
Yeah.
that's part of it.
Want you guys to write this down, okay? So what Chris just spit was gold. If you guys want to understand the real world conversation of how to have these circle prospecting conversations, so you guys can go back to the recording, right in the center of it and go back and clip that little part and watch it. Okay. Because that's money. This is where agents struggle. It's what do I say? How do I say it? And you guys have to remember the top 4 ways to generate a deal right now. Okay. Circle prospecting is number 4. Okay. You need to talk. Our whole point of everything that we're doing, right? You guys see right there, this alone produces listing leads. Circle prospecting alone, it's the excuse to have these conversations. Everyone follow me? The open house is the excuse to now have the reason why I'm personally calling each one of you homeowners. Okay. So write this down. The objective, you guys, is to have conversations. It's to grow the database. Every conversation, right? It's to set appointments, and every single conversation is then added into the database. So
But a
when
lot of
you're
times
going to
we,
talk to people that don't have a need, right? That don't have a need
Yeah.
right now. You're taking those organic conversations, you're adding them into the database.
a lot of people have those contacts with people, right? And they don't know what to say beyond, are you looking to buy or sell right now? And it's like, well, I don't know what to say. I don't want to push you. Obviously, they're not interested. You got to have a fundamental understanding of why you're asking these questions and what your objective out of these conversations are, so that you know where you're going in the conversation. You're confident, and just because they're not buying or selling doesn't mean that that's not a conversation worth having. Your goal is your database, right? And the objective is to add people to your database, even if that seller is like,
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything for the next 5 years. Oh, great. I've got a database that happens to track people over the course of 5 years, right? And maybe that might be sooner. I need you in my database, right?
Simplest script. All of our guys already have this. And for any guests on here, we'll give it to you guys. But the simplest script in the world, when we say add them organically into your database, you're doing the work, you're having the conversation. There's no, right? Chris isn't a right now business. He's not a lead. He's none of that. Chris, thank you so much for the conversation. Our neighbors are having me keep them up to date with exactly what's happening in our neighborhood. As we know, the slightest change in the economy can dramatically affect the prices of our homes. Would you like me to also keep you up to date on what's happening right here? What do you think you're going to say, you guys? That should be, you guys notice how I can just spew that in my sleep. This should be a memorized, internalized, collect the email address. Now they're going to our database where we can market to them forever because they are where we'd want to do deals. Okay. So just,
Yep.
I don't want to say that for any guests that are on here that haven't heard us say that before. That's the script. It's so easy. We're building the objective again. It's to have conversations. It's to build the database. It's to set appointments, and every contact, every conversation goes into the database. Okay.
Yeah, real quick, allow me, because I know like we only have so much time, but I really want, like I'm telling you what I'm about to tell you guys. I want to give everybody the secret. I want to give everybody the secret of why, like, Cooley and I circle prospecting, it wouldn't take long. Like, we wouldn't have to do it as long and as much to get the result. And this is why. When you're talking to that person and they paint that picture and they go, you know what, we may be doing something in 3 years. See, your entire understanding of what you do may be a little bit off from what it should be. See, my job is to not identify a problem right now. My job is to prevent problems from taking place for these sellers 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now. So if I hear something if I'm talking to Michelle and Michelle goes, yeah, but we're going to wait 2 years for X to happen. Okay, well, what's so important about X? Well, we think that the market's going to have, jump up in 2 years. Right. And then that's when we get to start identifying, well, are you aware of the trends currently taking place in the market? Are you aware of, let's say we do wait for your home to be worth $100,000 more. When you guys go to Dallas, you were telling me you guys want that property on like 3 to 5 acres. You said you want that 1-story home that's built within the last 10 years. You said you want that house that probably already has the pool so the grandkids can play. So do you think that, that's the kind of property that's going to increase in value even more than the home that you're in right now? So what kind of a problem would take place, Michelle, if like you did wait 2 to 3 years and that home that was 750 in Dallas was now $1 million? Would that put that entire dream out of touch with what we're able to accomplish? And would it make more sense to maybe actually look at your options on what your home could sell for now and capitalize? Wouldn't you want to capitalize? If we look back 5 years from now, would you want to capitalize on the fact that you got that property for so cheap when the market was down? Or were you satisfied with the fact that you waited for the market to hop up and you had to overpay for it? And also, like, you and I both know that life is precious. A lot can happen over the next 3, 4, 5 years. How would you feel if none of this came to be? Would you have rather just looked at the information, made an educated decision so that you could see if it should have been done maybe before those 2 to 3 years and at least know what you need to know, right? So, maybe it's not the perfect explanation, but the problem is that, we're kind of waiting for people to just go, yeah, we've been thinking about selling. We've been thinking
Yeah.
about, yeah. And you're like, fuck yeah. And I got somebody who said it. Like, you got to get it
Yeah.
out. You got to really dig deep. And dude, if you dig deep with those 100 contacts every week, you'll talk to 100 people. 50 people will blow you off because you probably weren't that good at doing it, and that's okay. And the other 50 people that you talked to was decent. And then you found 5 to 10 people that you're like, you know what? These people would do something in the next 12 months if they had the right information. And you're banking on the fact that the news is going to tell them the right information, that all the other agents who send some bullshit postcard is going to give them the right information. You are the doctor. You have to prevent the diabetes. You know what I'm saying?
Money, money,
And a lot of
money.
and a lot of people don't even know that they can get everything that they want right now. You know, some people are just stuck or waiting for something to happen when you have the recipe, right? You'll hear some people say, "I'm waiting to save up money for a down payment on this thing," right? Well, I mean, if you could get all of that without having to put so much money down and you could get that horse property and have X, Y, and Z, would you want that now if you didn't have to wait?
Yeah.
Right? It's just a series of identifying the things that people actually want, whether that's right now or in the future, and you putting yourself in that situation and going, okay, well, what are the factors at play here? What's is there any urgency, right? Can you get everything that you want right now? Would you want that? And you'd be surprised when you start asking the right questions to try to figure out what people actually want. It's amazing how you can walk through the decision making process with them and help them come to a conclusion that they didn't even think was possible.
And this right here, you guys, is the difference of why people will sell 2, 3, 5, 10 times as many homes, right? And optimize an opportunity from everyone else. It's right there. It's learning what
Yeah.
to say and master the conversation. I got to keep us moving along. Now, when we talk about real quick here, the you're touching that entire neighborhood 2, 3 times, guys, because we're talking about the phone call, right? We're talking about a voice drop. We're talking about door knocking, right? We're leveraging this event, this open house, to lead generate and dominate this area and community. So it's the same conversation. I'm going to be really brief on this one because it's literally the same script, same objective, same conversation. People are like, well, what do I bring with me when I go door knock the doors? But again, same objective. Here it is right here. Your sole objective is to talk to that area, that whole community, right? That whole neighborhood, that whole expansion as the excuse 2 to 3 times, okay? To have conversations, to grow your database, to set appointments, and make sure every conversation gets added. That is it. Take a picture of this. That is the objective. Okay. Now, moving on. Phase 4, open house day. Okay. We just showing up, putting our signs out. What are we doing here? Okay. So, Chris, I'll let you, or Cooley, I'll let one of you guys touch on this. But and I want to kind of hammer through the rest because we got still quite a
Real
bit more.
quick on the door knocking, guys. Hey, like to make it easy. Hey, guess what? I found 17 properties that expired in the last 3, 4, 5 years, whatever that time frame is. Go to those doors, have a packet, make it look good. It needs to be presentable. You can even what we do is we put them in these like clear plastic bags that go over the handle if for whatever reason they're not there. But then you go to that house and then you go to 20 doors around that one. And then you go to the other expired, and then you go to 20 houses around that one. And it's pretty easy in most neighborhoods to just go from house to house to house. And I'm telling you, your biggest problem will not be getting rejection. Your biggest problem is you'll go, damn, the last 4 conversations took an hour and a half. I actually like having these conversations. I may even need to shorten them a little bit, and I need to cover more ground. And if I just did this right and I got this process down, man, I'm like people in this neighborhood. You're like the politician for your real estate business. You're like go out there and vote for Chris Hardy. Like you're going door to door and you're pushing it. And I'm telling you, man, you do this kind of stuff, it makes such a big impression.
Yeah. Again, all we're doing, we're driving traffic here, you guys, right? We're out, we're not showing up right before. 2 hours before, we are marketing. This is a lead generation strategy, right? We're last minute, we are still driving traffic the morning of. Okay. Pretty simple, right? I think this is the stuff everybody's taught, right? You show up, bring in your checklist, you got your property flyer, be prepared. I think that's common sense, I hope, right? So this is how we're getting launched. I don't know if there's much more to add to that, right? This, I think, and as you guys are hearing us, right? I think the what moves the needle the most is the conversation when we're doing all of that pre-marketing strategy, as well as the conversation inside the open house, right? So we're driving traffic for the 5 days prior. What is that conversation? Okay. Now it's what is the strategy of the conversation when we're inside the home? Okay. Because again, we're not just there. You have to understand this is where the results are created. We're not here. Write this down, right? We're not showing a home. We're not doing a tour. Literally, our job is to ask questions, have conversations, ask questions, create leads and appointments. You guys following us? It's not to
Yeah.
show to tour a home. The perception has to change. The mindset has to change. You are identifying who needs to buy right now, who needs to sell right now. You're identifying things that they need, like I need a lender, I need credit repair, I need guidance, I'm a first-time buyer. Our job is to ask questions and identify this. It's a qualification process. That is our sole job of the conversation strategy inside the home. Chris,
Yeah.
do you want to add to that?
Yeah, real quick. I think that if you ever would like to do this, go be an undercover buyer at an open house. You can quickly see which agents do open houses and do deals from it, and you could see why the other people will go on some Facebook forum and complain that they've done 50 open houses and didn't get anything because they're so passive. And the problem is that a lot of you will be bad on the phone part. They're going to be bad on the door knocking part, and you're going to be bad on the open house part. And it's just because you haven't done it enough. If you've never danced before, you're probably going to step on some toes. It's probably going to be a little bit awkward. It's not going to be that smooth, and it's not going to be anything for people to kind of get excited about, right? However, if you can just start doing this process, you're going to evolve, and you're going to get better every single time. You're going to get out of your comfort zone more each and every single time, and like the more confidence you have in your ability, it's like if your listing presentation is down, you prospect different. If I just get one person a day that needs my freaking help, there ain't no way I'm not going to go list a property. If I sit in front of them, I'm getting the listing, right? However, if you're not that confident about your presentation, you don't prospect the same, you don't communicate the same. And guys, like this isn't 50%, this is 100%. Like life is 100% like intuitional. You could say words out of your mouth. They can come out of your mouth, but people may decide to not believe you because the intuition that they have from you is that they don't believe you, that the confidence isn't just exhuming from your body and all your energy. And so you need to role play this stuff. You need to go and like, hey, you know what? Me and a couple people from the team, or me and a couple other people are going to go door knock the neighborhood to push people for the open house. And then you know what? The house is empty. Hey, let's just role play people walking into the open house. Hey, my seller would like every single person who walks to their property to sign in, fill this information sheet, just so they know who's coming in their property, the same way you probably would with your property if you owned it and all these strangers are coming in. You get that information locked in. Hey, while they're doing that, you're knocking out some questions. Of course, they're going to go do their own tour. They're going to walk around, but you can't, hey, go ask, let me know if you need any help. You get that voice from people. And I know you think you're nice, but nice doesn't pay. Nice doesn't get deals. Nice isn't going to make you the authority in the neighborhood.
Not solving their problem either.
Yeah, when somebody's buying a $500,000 asset, right? 300,000, $1 million, like somebody's buying something that much money, like the person, you wouldn't go buy a Rolls Royce, and the person trying to sell you a Rolls Royce is like, would you like to do this? And hey, let me know if you need it, if you want to do, they would never work with you. You want somebody that knows the damn car. You know what? Like you want somebody that can sell you on the value of it. And maybe it's not that house, but the thing that Michelle's trying to break down for you is you're selling them on why they probably talk to other agents. They probably maybe even have an agent. But based on the questions and the confidence you have, they feel like the gamble on you is way more of a better chance and opportunity versus anybody else they'd work with. And they're going to say things like, I'm so glad we went to the open house that day. I'm so glad I did that. Go ahead,
I
Chris.
think too, and I just want to knock this out, Michelle, because I know we're running out of time. We've got to be quick here. I think the major fail that most people have with an open house is they don't have the right conversations because they don't have anything to offer, right? Beyond like, hey, do you have an agent yet? You know what I mean? It's like, what kind of value do you actually have? And so my recommendation when you're like looking through the expired listings in the neighborhood, if you're having the right conversations with people, you have number one, a list of off-market properties available at the home, right? And it allows you to have different conversations of, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, are you just
Working out while
in
working at the
love?
same time.
What's that?
I don't know
I
if
don't know
he's
what this
talking to you, but I muted him.
is. I would say like, hey, great, right? Are you just interested in this home specifically, or would you be interested in an off-market property that's similar down the street that you might be able to get a better deal on, right? And so like I'm offering some sort of value to that seller. Hey, we have
Why
the
would they
what
talk to you?
when you find out what they're looking for, if you say, hey, you know what? I have the unique ability to go out there and laser focus and find off-market properties on behalf of my buyers. So is it just this house that you're looking for specifically, or are you looking for any specific benefits and features of a property, or are you looking for something in a specific area, right? Even if it's not this house, it's like, what value can you provide somebody? Can you set them up on an appointment based on value that you can provide? And if you could do that, man, you want to talk to everybody. And it's not about, do you have an agent already? It's about, I know that your agent prior you don't have a buyer's agreement because agents are terrible at asking for the buyer's agreement, right? Is this an opportunity for me to outvalue and outgame all of these other agents in my marketplace? And can I take advantage of anybody who's looking to actually buy a home right now, right? Can I provide them enough value, right?
Yeah.
Phoebe, are you just looking for this home in particular? Are you interested in this specifically, or do you have something specifically that you're looking for, right? Let them share with you exactly what they're looking for, right? Hey, Phoebe, I've got 2 off-market properties that are similar to what you're talking about right now, and I can actually set up a showing to go look at those properties. And the good news is, Phoebe, they're off market right now, so you won't be competing with 10 other people to buy it, right? And when you don't
Yeah.
compete, you've got all the negotiating power and you can demand different things and more benefits for the home that you fall in love with. So that's, to me, the most powerful thing that you could use at any open house to create value with anybody right there on the spot, because they need it. Agents aren't offering it. They're always just sending you listings, right? Send you listings, send you listings. We're an agent that goes above and beyond and leverages our value to actually solidify deals, Michelle.
1,000,000%. And as
FOMO.
you guys
FOMO.
all know, the trainings we run on, like, how do we different, why is that buyer going to talk to me, right? We teach whole trainings on that. Now, keeping us running, phase 5, you guys, this right here. So even if we teach you guys this whole entire system for 5 days, right? You're doing everything right. This is still where most agents will lose the deal, right? Because they don't have follow-up. They don't do effective follow-up. They're not following up. Now it all just became wasted time and energy. You guys feeling me?
Yep.
This is a critical, right? Who out there is doing all the deals? They're the ones that are actually making the contacts. They're the ones that are actually leveraging this event to talk to the community 1, 2, 3+ times, right? They're the ones that are getting all of the contacts, having the conversations, following up with them same day. They're not calling them back in a week. They're not calling them back even the next day, right? They're not then touching them a couple of times passively. Let me send you listings, right? That's what gets the very little to no results, which is what the industry experiences, right? You have to have an intentional, aggressive, and active follow-up plan, right? That's one of your biggest challenges right there. And I know we're getting short on time. I still got a bunch to push through, but Cooley, Chris, anything to push on right here?
No, I'll talk for 20 more minutes.
Okay. So I'm going to keep us kind of moving along. So that's phase 6. That was number 10 to me, and 11. You guys got all
Real
my
quick, real quick. My only thing would be, hey, there's going to be people that you talk to that just have all these defensive no's, and they're nice to you and they're cool as hell, and like they were great to talk to, but they just like they're not thinking about things the way you're thinking about them, and they have a life, right? By you just going back through. And like every person you met at the door, every person you had a good conversation with, right? If you just like even just passively texted them, if you're like, hey, I'm not going to call them, you just, hey, you know what, Cooley, it was so great meeting you last week. Thank you so much for having that conversation. And if there's anything I can do for you, and there will be out of those 137 people, there will be 2, 3 people that may go, you know what, I totally forgot to ask. My family has a house, in one town over. Do you work the Springville area? Do you work this? Like, you will get something from it, right? So, you just gotta
bingo.
like. You just got to like follow the process. There's going to be people that like they just didn't think about it then. And you need to make sure, hey, I'm going to come back and I'm going to see if there's anything left on that plate, baby. That's all you
Bingo.
got.
And if any of you guys are taking anything away out of everything we're sharing with you, because this is the every good day conversation with agents holding open houses, you're simply not getting to the conversations, because you just do that passive little touch, because you actually did volume. You want to do business right now, it's going to take volume of conversations. That's why you're going to get those 1 to 3 to 5 engagements, leads, conversations out of even a little passive touch like that, because you didn't send that to the 4 people that visited the open house. It was to the 100 conversations, the 50 conversations. It has to be done at volume, or you're not even moving the needle. Okay. Now, moving on from that, phase 6, right? So what do we do now that the property's gone under contract? Again, we talk about open house domination system, right? Community domination. This is why we can touch that community. If you guys remember from Gail, why does she sell so much business? I don't know if you guys remember her saying this, because she becomes the celebrity known in that area because she's in front of them. Do you think she just sent one little flyer? She made one call once. She put her signs out and just showed up to her open house to sell
No, she
7 homes in
gets after
in
them.
2 years. She is the celebrity agent of that marketplace, showing up again and again and again, talking to the community. You guys following us? Yes, you are calling the entire community again. You're door knocking again. You're doing a touch again. This is how you're creating those conversations. This is how you're identifying who's looking to sell next, who's looking to buy next. Chris Cooley, anything to add?
Vila asked a good question. Yeah, like why not? You could definitely find some other people that to do open house for. And like, hey, you could do that, and also, hey, you don't even have to wait for an open house for this. Like, newsflash, hey guys, I'm gonna give you the big secret. The open house is the excuse for you to fucking do the work. You don't even have to have an open house. You could circle prospect, identify somebody this week that wants to list their house, and then now you have the new open house to do because then you get to do it all again. It like the scripts that we go over, everything we do, it's not even for the client. You're our clients. The agents are the clients. It's hey, can you give me a good script? It all goes to the same. It's all the same script. It just has a different undertone so that you actually do it because you go, oh, there's a reason why I'm doing this script. Like outside of the intro, it's all the same script. You know what I mean?
It's all the same.
We're just asking people questions. But yes, you can go find somebody to do open house for. It's like that's not a problem. You know what I mean? But don't do it because some people will go, I did it in a new construction neighborhood where all the homes are in the last 2 years. Don't. Do it in a neighborhood that is like 7 years or older, 10 years or older. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And guys, it's real easy. Again, I love that we're all smiling as you guys see, because literally you can do circles prospecting at any time. There's always home selling where you guys want to sell deals. It literally is irrelevant. The open house is the excuse. Okay. And yes, you can literally go find any EXP listing selling, honestly, any company anywhere. Doesn't matter. Send a quick email, send out 10 emails every single weekend for the following weekend, offering to hold an open house for their listing. You're going to get an open house every single week. You don't have to have the property. You don't have to have the sale. It's irrelevant. It's just the excuse to do the work. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
This is the entire point of what we are doing, right? And it's a continuous cycle. Now, this is how you build a predictable and duplicatable business. I want you guys to take this down, take a screenshot. This is not, I hope I get a lead. I hope I do a deal. I've done 10 open houses. You're tracking the wrong thing.
Screenshot this, write this down.
Screenshot this right now. This is why it's not a guessing game. This is, I run a business. I use open houses as a pillar in my business to do a crap ton of deals because I track this. Thank you, Andrew. These are our KPIs. This is now, I have something to measure so I can figure out where I suck in the conversation. Because if you're following the process, all we got to do is bridge the gap on that conversation, which is what we do every day, right? Now you're working with Chris, now you're working with Cooley, now you're working with me, so we can fix that conversation in the pre-marketing stage and in the open house conversation, in the follow-up conversation. Now you just went from I generated a handful of leads and deals to I'm doing 1, 2, 3 deals every time I do an open house because I've mastered the conversation.
Yeah, the example real quick is like if I have a brand new agent, how many deals am I going to do the first 1,000 contacts that I make on a phone? Hey, you may do 0. And then the next 1,000 you do 1. Then the next 1,000 you do 3. Then the next 1,000 you do 4. And then you just start improving. But if you stop after the first open house, you stop after the first 1,000 contacts you ever make in your life, then you're never gonna get what you want out of it. Like this should be what you want to do is you're competing. When people say, "Hey, you're competing with yourself." Hey, you're competing with your last damn open house you did. You're competing with the last one, and you're doing whatever you can to whoop the last open house you did's ass. You know what? Last time I was door knocking, I didn't do it that good. There were some houses that I skipped. There were some people I could have had longer conversations with. I could have asked more. I could have done this. Bam, prove it to yourself that you're going to whoop the last Chris's ass who did that open house, and I'm going to do this one better. Like, you got to start thinking like that. You know what I mean?
Do you guys see why that if you just followed this system, this could become one of the highest return lead generation pillars in your business? I want to know for real. Like,
you can only do this. You can literally just do this every week. Michelle, if an agent just did this every single week, hey, talk to 10 expireds a day, and then the rest just circle prospect the hell out of open houses that you're doing, and then go do the door knocking, get the flyers, get people going. Like, Like I remember, Michelle, when Kohl's Realty first came out, there was a guy, all he did was use Kohl's to do open houses every weekend. And the guy within 24 months was selling 100 homes a year. 100 homes a year straight from open houses. And that neighborhood was his office the entire week. He was
Yeah.
making calls from his car. He's door knocking every day. He's getting flyers and like it's like he's pushing his campaign. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you got to get excited about this process. Some of us go, oh man, this is going to be some work. Well, you know what? Like nobody's going to do 100 deals or 50 deals and it didn't take any damn work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's our excuse to do the work. So let's I know we're kind of at time here. I want to see, I'm hoping this was this valuable for you guys?
Yeah.
We're going to
Yes.
give you guys,
Valuable.
you guys will have the recording, you will have the slide deck. All of this is literally broke out in a system. Yes, for our VAs to prep all of that for us. The rest of the heavy lifting is done by the agents, right? You got to do the work. Let's spend a few minutes here, you guys, on just any questions for Chris, Cooley, myself, anyone, any questions before we wrap?
Yeah, let's get some questions.
Yes, I'm in the process of hiring an ISA to do all of that, so I can just focus on just going out there to door knock and all this stuff. Quick question. Is this probably a dumb question, but like, well, never mind, because I already have that story. Never.
Well, ask it because somebody else may learn, Cody. Somebody
No,
else may
because
learn.
I was gonna say, if my ISA is gonna take care of all like ordering the flyers and all that stuff, right? And let's just say, for example, the flyers they'll come in time for the day to door knock. Like, do I just go out there and just go knock those doors, or like?
Hey, Cody, if you don't have like, how many homes are you trying to sell a year?
Trying to sell 75 to 100 solo agent.
Yeah. You need to spend $500 a month on a good printer in your house where the new ink comes in and you're printing this crap out and you're ready to go. Like, I don't even know when you're saying ordering. I've been paying $1,000, $2,000 for printers in my offices for the last 12 years. You gotta the agents need those things. And if you're trying to do all that production, like when you're talking about ordering that stuff, it's gonna be more expensive just like ordering flyers like that. She can create them and then you just like, hey, send me this PDF and then you just print them out. Like, go get online. These businesses that are printing companies are hurting right now because so many people are closing up shop in these offices. Like I guarantee you don't even need to buy a machine. You go get a good quality printer that you lease from somebody. It's going to cost $5,000 a year or something, but it will be worth it. And it's a write-off and it's high quality and you don't got to wait on nobody. You should never have this problem where you're like, oh, well, I don't have the flyers. And then you got to go to Kinko's. Like, how much is that? Like, you need to go to 100, 200, 300 doors if you can. You know what I mean? Like, this is not like, what is Kinko's going to charge you for 300 printouts? It's going to be, you might as well just buy your own high quality. I'm not telling you to go to Sam's and HEB, I'm not HEB, Walmart to get a printer. I'm telling you a good printer.
Go to
Yeah,
your
no,
lender. Go to a lender. They'll print
Your lender
flyers.
partners, they'll print all that stuff for you
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. There you go.
My
Yeah, because
title
I
rep,
normally do
my
Canva.
title rep have everything print out for me and bring it to my doorstep. So I have it
Yeah.
within a day or 2 days. So use your resources. They want your business. They will get everything for you.
There you go. There you go. I give you the expensive route. They were smarter than me. I just wouldn't waste time. You know what I mean? So, like, if you have some people you can benefit from like that, then you need to leverage that, Cody. And then also, my thing would be is like, you need to make sure you make that distinct connection when you knock on a door. Hey, you know what? You probably talk to my assistant, so and so. She's been talking to a lot of the neighbors here in the subdivision while I'm out here, boots on the ground. You really want to make that distinct connection that, like, because see, when you're a guy, and you didn't make the call, and let's say you have a VA and it's a woman who made the call, they're not just, oh, you must be the guy with the lady who's calling the neighborhood, like that's you can start off, and if the person goes, oh, I didn't even talk to anybody yet, well, you already kind of like started the convo off, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
Any other questions, you guys? I think I saw, I don't know if that was Susan's hand up.
What is Kinko's?
If you don't know what Kinko's is,
My hand was up.
Post another video today in your go-kart race car. That's all. That's what it is.
go ahead.
I
Susan.
we go.
did have a question, if I could ask it.
Yes.
So I'm just trying to think about, like, I mean, he did bring up a good point about the printer issue, because that is an issue, getting things fast enough to be ready for your open house. So my question is, if you're doing one open house a weekend, let's just say you're doing one, how much time do you think you're going to be spending realistically to get it done? I mean, if you, and say I have an assistant, so he could help me with a lot of it, but how much time do you really think you would be devoting?
Great question. So, like, is your assistant a caller, or is your assistant kind of like helping you with like the Canva flyers and things like that?
He can help me with anything. He's a virtual assistant.
Virtual assistant.
Everything.
Okay. So what I would do is like, now, are you also willing to make the calls and have the conversations?
Yes, I would have to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I would do is I go, hey, have them do the $10 an hour work first while you're doing the $1,000 an hour work, which is, just think about this for a moment. If you were to find 3 deals this week from doing this open house, and every deal you do in your market's $12,000 to you, and we're talking about over 30, over 25, $30,000, would it be worth you making sure that you had a lot of those conversations? Now, if you want to have that person calling as well, hey, you take half the list, I take half the list, we both attack it. But I need to make sure that that person's doing the little $10 an hour work, which is the like build the flyer out thing. Because you like, Susan, you're the person to have those great conversations with the sellers.
Right.
You know that neighborhood better than the person who you would have calling for you. Doesn't mean that person you can't leverage, right? But I'm telling you, this is probably going to be a 3 hour a day thing. 3 hour,
Okay.
3 hours. And it would be, you got to ask yourself the question. We got to be great salespeople. Would it be worth working 3 hours a day on this for 5 days in order to sell one, two, three houses from it? And of course, the answer is a no-brainer. It's a yes, right?
When you think about
So,
Susan, when you think, I just want to add to this real quick. When we talk about lead generation, period, that's the all that matters in our business comes.
mhm.
We our your rule of thumb is that 3 hours a day where you're hitting the low hanging fruit, you're calling your database, you're doing your follow-ups, you're doing your circle prospecting, you're calling back your leads. Like this is our job every day. If we're only talking to a few people a day, we're not going to do much business. And so this circle prospecting is a pillar in those top categories, wherever your guys' deals are coming from, right? It's who are we talking to about real estate, right? And so it all falls into that bubble when we talk about that 3 hour. There's people that lead generate a lot more than that, people that do a lot less. But if you're doing less and you're not having the conversations, you're not going to be doing more deals wherever your contacts are coming from. We have to be having
Okay,
conversations.
so here's my thought. My thought was, I've been doing real estate a long time. I've done a ton of open houses. I've never felt they were very successful, but it is something you need to do. And so when I listened to the broadcast today, I learned some things that I thought, okay, if I add this in, perhaps this will be the one thing that'll make the difference. So what I'm trying to figure out on that is, so you're going to be doing an open house for your listing. You've got it scheduled. It's, a week from now. And in that amount of time, I need to get my sellers in the area so that I know who I'm communicating with. I need to get my just listed postcard out, my
Just
open house
do it.
postcard out, my Facebook, notifications
Just do
out. And then call, am I getting the phone numbers from my escrow? I mean, where am I getting the phone numbers to call the people?
So real quick, I think this is great. And again, you guys are going to get all the notes and that slide deck and the recordings. So remember, putting the assets together, that all starts on day 1 and 2. That's literally like a week before your open house. You're already
Okay.
putting all that together. You're not doing it Saturday night, Friday night, Saturday or Sunday morning, right? That's literally being done day 1 and 2. Then the rest of the days, that's all lead generation time, right?
Okay.
Now, Susan, for you, you're in Washington. We literally on demand, you say, hey, can I get the neighborhood list for this address? And Blair sends it to you in 5 minutes. That's all paid for. That's all free. The rest of you guys, it's your title reps, it's whatever data platform you're paying into. You guys all have access to that. You're just getting the list ready, and that's now your lead generation time, those 3 days.
Blair, I didn't know Blair. Okay, I didn't know Blair could do that.
Literally
Oh,
on
sweet.
demand.
The only thing she doesn't do is cook for you. She does everything but cook.
So I'm missing out on a few things. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to talk to Sienna and dial in a little bit better.
Yeah, and Susan, real quick, the reason why I tell you too, like, because it's, I'm huge on having VAs and then making some calls for you. You know what? I'll just be honest. I think when the agents go, hey, I'm going to have them do all the calls, the business never runs the right way. It's never as profitable.
No.
Your
Yeah.
goal is to go, you know what? What if I got two people calling? What if I got me
Mhm.
and somebody else? I'm gonna be undeniable in this neighborhood. Like, oh, we already, like, you want to go knock on the door and they're like, oh my God, I think I talked to your assistant. You know what I mean? Who's making calls? Yeah, it was probably me and my assistant. We're doing you can tell in a market like this,
Right.
we have to do whatever we can to get our clients' property sold. And I'd imagine if you guys were trying to sell, you'd want to make sure you had a hard ass working agent like me out there on the streets and on the phones, right? And so when you
Right.
put say that and you have somebody else going, because I just say it because I watch people go, oh, now I got somebody making the calls for me,
Yeah.
and then they just take off and like they're like, oh, why isn't the VA working out? Well,
Yeah.
see, when you have a pulse of what's going on in the neighborhood from you making the calls, you go, oh, you know what, so and so.
Yeah, that's true.
You're the expert. That's the $1,000 an hour
Yeah.
task.
Well,
that
and I think your
you're the-
seller would be appreciative of that,
Yeah.
even if you
Your-
don't get a lead. Shows
Your
that you're really
VA,
working for
your
them.
VA, Susan, is the one preparing all the flyers, all the marketing
Yeah.
that's getting the data list for you. That's what the assistant's doing. You're doing the $1,000 an hour work, which is my job
Okay.
is conversations.
Calling
That's
people.
our job as the agent.
Okay.
I know we're way over time here, guys. We
Yeah,
do have a
sorry.
wrap. Susan, no, I love this, Susan. Thank you. Great question. I think that's a wrap, unless there's anything last minute. But hopefully this was valuable, you guys. Again, the recording, the notes, the walkthrough, all of that will go into the platform over the next couple of hours from Blair. Any parting words, Chris or Cooley, and we'll send everyone back to work.
Hey, just like do this one time, do it another time, do it 10 times, prove it to us that it doesn't work. Go do it 10 times, follow the strategy, be honest, have candor with yourself, execute it at the highest level possible, get better every time you do it. And if you spent the next 10 weeks, clearly, the week is, you're already in a position where, hey, you're probably not going to do it for Saturday and have success, but can you utilize the time you have right now to get better prepared for the first one that you have, not this Saturday, but the next Saturday or Sunday? And also, don't do open houses like at dumb times. Don't do it on I see a lot of these new younger agents, they're like, oh, I do open houses from 2 to 3 on Tuesday. Like you're out of your nut, you're out of your mind. Like you're out of your complete mind. Like, then you'll have sellers go, why the hell that's stupid.
Yeah.
And the problem is these people have never
What's up?
prospected around their open house, so they don't have any
Sorry,
sellers
what's
going,
up?
well, that's stupid. You know what I mean? So
Hold
what's
on.
up? Hey.
All right. That's a
Thank
wrap.
you.
That's you guys'
Thank you,
action.
Michelle.
Right?
You're the best.
Bye, Andrew.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Love you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Bye,
you.
y'all.
Good night.
Bye.
Have a good day.